Hello there. What? Why hello there? Come to Brazil. I mean, maybe someday. That'd be cool. Brazil seems chill. What up? What up? What up? What up? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Where's Chairs Part 2? I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get Chairs Part 2, you know? That's kind of like a rumor. Some people say hell nah. Some people say hell yeah. I'm kind of hoping it's a hell nah. To be honest. I am not... Let me just say this. If they actually do this Chairs shit again, man, I mean, I'm gonna do the same thing I did last time, guys. We're gonna call it a day. we're just gonna get the fuck out of there because I can't do it. Can't do it. Come to Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'll think about it. It worked last time, just saying. I mean, yeah, sure. It worked, I guess. I guess it worked. It got some people's attention, you know? What the hell? Oh, shit. Anyway, what's up? How y'all doing, man? How's everybody doing? My chairs! Good morning, Chris and Dan. Oh, no, good morning to me? Randon? No good morning to me? Why is Tom Holland not filming for the rest of Spider-Man? I don't think that's what it is, brother. I think he is taking a little break. That's all. Every 30 minutes for a reveal? No, thank you. Yeah, I know, right? Your boy Strange, it's your birthday, huh? Happy birthday, brother! Great morning, Josh. Hey, thanks, Randon. Appreciate you, man. Sorry if I bullied you into that. Playing Cyberpunk and Helldivers 2. Nice, Bianca! 5 gifted memberships. Holy, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. How you guys doing, man? I'm here listening in. Won't be able to correct your mistakes, so make sure you're on point. I mean, I'll try, man, you know? I'll try. We almost just had coffee come out of my nose. Right? Trev, fuck you, bro. You did this somehow. I almost just literally coffee out the nose, bro. Damn Canada. You know, I used to live in the Twin Cities, and man, all the cold air coming down from Canada just gave me a healthy animosity for not only the region of Canada, but its overly polite folks that live there as well. Excited for football, bro? Steelers suck, LMAO. Yeah, I haven't watched any of it. I mean, what's the deal with Rodgers, man? What's the deal with Rodgers? Because I heard they weren't even like playing him in some of these games because they're like, hey, we don't need to play him or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I guess look, here's what I'll say. If they keep if they somehow start winning games with Aaron Rodgers and it looks like it's going to be decent, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, I was wrong. Let's go. Go Aaron, you know, go Steelers. But at the same time, I don't know, man. We'll see. 18 months of nerd vengeance. It's been a roller coaster ride, but I'll be nerd vengeance until I die. Oh, that rhymes. Much love, Josh and chat. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. The defense will be stacked. Yeah, defense looks good. Defense looks like it'll be pretty good, for sure. Take it from a New Yorker. Rodgers is washed. I mean, yeah, it kind of looks like it, yeah. Look up 3-Eye Atlas, Josh. Oh, yeah, I mean, I already know all about it. I don't know that it's real, though. I don't know that it's real. Rodgers is 10 times better than Russell Wilson. LOL, they're going to be good. I mean, maybe. We'll see. Hey, look, if they'll be good, they'll be good. We're going to find out. You know what I mean? We're going to find out. I'm just not one of these people. I don't actually know how Pittsburgh is feeling about Rodgers. I'm actually going to Pittsburgh this weekend. My buddy's birthday's tomorrow, and we're going to celebrate his birthday in the only way you can celebrate your good friend's birthday. We're playing Warhammer all day Saturday. Let's fucking go. I know you're excited. I'm actually going to take some videos. I'm going to take some pictures of it. We're going to go to a really nice game store, and we're going to have a whole bunch of Warhammer. Oh, I'm so excited. So I'll take pictures of that or whatever. But maybe while I'm down there, I'll ask people what they think about Rodgers. You know, I'll run around Pittsburgh, find out what the folks are saying. BP Kinraid, what up, brother? Says, for the Emperor, Q armor, holy chair, and death. Hell yes. Hell yes. Jets had no good coaches. Hard to know with Rodgers. Oh, really? What if Doomsday flops? Oh, no. Superman barely hit 600 million. Honestly, I'm scared. Yeah, I mean, maybe. You know, I think there's a lot of discussion about this, of course, and a lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on and what it will look like. You know, the question is the theatrical experience, because there's two big factors here. I think it's just theatrical fatigue, which, by the way, did you guys see those comments that Denzel Washington made? Bro, I love Denzel Washington, but also, why is he saying this? Why is he saying this? Why is he saying this now? It's fascinating. Rossi, thank you so much, man. Says, top of the morning, Joshua and chat. Much love. Nerd Avengers for life. Appreciate you, bro. Denzel has this crazy comment he recently made, man. I gotta find you this. I couldn't believe this when I read it. I was like, okay, yeah, I actually feel you on that, bud, but why are you saying this? So Denzel Washington literally says, I don't watch movies, man. I don't go to the movies. I'm tired of movies. So anyway, we're all, dude, I know, I kind of love it. I kind of love this arc of Denzel, but it's just an odd thing to say. You know what I mean? It's just an odd thing to say. To be honest though, is he saying the most real shit ever? Cause like, are we all just kind of fucking tired of movies? Like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like we're tired. We're kind of a little tired of movies. And you know what else I'm tired of? I'm tired of people that are like too into movies. Like, you're too into that shit. You know, it says the guy that makes, you know, all the videos about Marvel and shit like that. But like, you know, look, I'll tell you this. To be real, I think there's more to that than there is for a lot of these other movies over here. I don't know. It's a weird time. But anyway, the point is this. To talk about Doomsday, right? The question is, I think number one, there's a big movie fatigue factor. I think video games and maybe simulations or something, like there's something else that's on the horizon that I think is really going to replace theatrical experience. Frankly, video games already make up way more time for way more people on the planet than watching movies do. But that's like a big question, is like, is it just movies? Like, is movies kind of over? Is this like record players or whatever? And that's a fair question. And then the other side of it is the superhero genre. And look, you know, there's a lot that can be said about this, but I think at the end of the day, like, you'd have to be so fucking stupid or just deny all the facts and reality to say that there's not a comic book or a superhero fatigue thing happening. Obviously, that's a factor. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, I think the question with Doomsday is, and the question with Spider-Man will also be, what does it look like? What does success even look like these days? You know, and what could we expect for, like, how does it just all shake out? Like, what's the ceiling? What's the floor? What's the average? Like, geez, man, I almost feel like Hollywood doesn't know. They don't have any idea the answer to any of these questions. You know, it's pretty crazy. Emo Joe, appreciate you, brother. Welcome back to the Nerd Avengers. You know, something else I was thinking about recently with this, man. It's like, movies, man. I don't know. I just think, okay, so look, I actually didn't necessarily want to go down this rabbit hole, but somebody asked me, and now like got me yapping about it. So, man, there's some shit's irritating in the attention economy. And I think there's a lot of fatigue of that as well, right? And you look at, like, so for instance, Marvel. Like, everybody's talking about like this question, right? Like, what if Doomsday underperforms? And it's almost like you're asking the wrong question. You know what I mean? It really almost is like you're asking the wrong question, because, and this, I don't know how to perfectly articulate this. It's been this thing that I've kind of tried to put my finger on for a while. It's something I've sort of felt as making the content, you know, for Marvel and Disney and stuff. It's like, I started to realize that what used to be the driving force of that, which was the content that they created, the movies, the shows, and everything, that's not even really what's in the driving seat of how that operates sort of like within the zeitgeist. And so like you might ask like, well, what if Doomsday underperforms? And I swear to God, like the question I almost want to ask back is like, well, what if Doomsday and the questions about Doomsday weren't the entire fucking news cycle of the entertainment industry a year and a half away from the fucking movie? You know what I mean? And then like you look at so TMZ just covered the story with about RDJ and Ryan Reynolds. And look, man, like I like Roka a lot, and I think Roka's playing the game, and we're all just trying to get fucking views and get seen and report and all that sort of stuff. And like on the one hand, you're like I guess this is what I'm trying to say is like it feels kind of silly to have all this attitude and energy of like, what if Marvel this? What if Marvel that? Brother, Marvel's all you motherfuckers talk about. It's all anybody talks about. It's all anybody talks about still to this fucking day. It's just shifted a little bit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's weird to be like, what if this movie underperforms and not acknowledge that the entire conversation about this movie and about this whole cinematic universe and the genre and everything is so fucking all-encompassing. It blankets every part of our culture and is still the biggest, most relevant thing that we all get up and talk about every single fucking day. So it's like, it's a silly question. What if the movie underperforms? You'll still be here. God willing, you'll be here. Bitching about it, coping about it, getting ready for the next one. We've always been here, Mr. Tomlin. And we always will be here. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you understand? I don't even know if I'm explaining this well. It's like, fuck. Good question. All right. Kalen says, Marvel's share video just did, oh shit, 275 million views. Doomsday will not underperform. Normies are waiting for Avengers IP. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's truth in what you're saying too, brother. Like, I think that I think those movies will do. Like, here's what I'll say: would it surprise me if this movie didn't do better than all of the movies this year? Yeah, that would be pretty fucking surprising. Is it still going to dominate the news cycle for the next year and a half, the next year after that, and then the next 5 years after that? Yes, yes. Marvel was so successful that it created generational wealth for fans and content creators on both sides. People that want to support it and gush over it, and people that want to fucking shit on it. Literally, everybody's getting fed. What the fuck are we even talking about here? Why are we down about this at all? It's crazy. I mean, look, I understand that the narrative around it is also a part of the fun, and it's like, you know, that's the news cycle, and it's okay to speculate about this, but like in some ways it just feels a little silly, you know? In some ways it feels a little silly. So no cast announcement part 2 today. I don't think so. I don't even know where that rumor came from, but I doubt it, you know? I highly doubt it. But if it does happen, we will promptly end the stream. How about that? Subliminal. Welcome to the Nerdvengers, baby. You are a Nerdvenger now, my man. Hey, Chris Hemsworth just wrapped filming for Avengers Doomsday. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Okay, we got a lot to get into. We got a lot to talk about. But anyway, what else is on your mind? Let's kind of ease into it, chat. What else is going on out there? How you guys feeling? Wouldn't they wait to announce the Doomsday for D23 this weekend? Not a bad point to bring up. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they'll do it this weekend, although you could argue that by doing it today or whatever, you do a really nice way to kind of lead into D23. Like, you could do that thing you did last time, and then maybe Downey walks to the end of the chairs and goes, I'll see you at D23 this weekend, bitch! And then, you know, we just go from there. Okay. Somebody else said I missed a chat. I missed a soupy chat. King Wave says Infinity Castle in a couple of weeks is my most hyped movie of the year. Hype for Fallout Season 2. Much love, my stinky butthole pinkies. What the fuck? UNT, appreciate you, man. Yeah, no, dude, I'm very excited for both of those things as well. Honestly, like, nerds are eating good. You know, like, everything's changing. You know, it's certainly changing. We're adjusting and whatnot. But, dude, if you're a nerd, you're eating good right now. And also, what the fuck is the situation with the likes right now? Less than 200 likes. All right, I'm sensing some technical difficulties here, guys. Something's going on. Something's wrong with the mics and everything. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Is everybody gone? Did everybody fucking like the video? Anyway. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's see what else is on here. Mr. Rossi says, if Josh watches Peacemaker Season 2, he can save the whole comic book industry. I guess it's cooked then. I guess it's truly cooked. You know, it's funny. It's like you're being ironic, but like, what if you're not wrong? What if we literally, because like you're saying, like if we watch Peacemaker save the whole comic book genre, I mean, what if it's all on James Gunn to save the genre? You know, and that's why it will ultimately die forever and have to rest for over 100 years before it's brought back. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that, like, that dude gets up and spikes that white hair every morning. That dude looks in the mirror and spikes that white hair every morning. I just want you to think about that. But Duncan says, everyone's talking about Steve giving Peggy back shots. Nobody's talking about how I need to be taken out back and shot. Much love, nerds. Oh, we're back. We're back in the tower. Here we go. Having fun again. Thanks, Baduncan. Appreciate you there, bud. Renee Ramon says, I'm not sure what's going on with the likes. I hit the button 4 times. Hit it 5th. A good-looking haircut, Papa Josh. You probably posted that before I went off camera and ruined it. It's probably falling apart now because I didn't put any product in it. Now I'm going to try to mess with it and make it look good again. Hang on. Fuck. Next time. Yeah. Josh, this be hot take. K-pop Demon Hunter made theaters got people excited again. You're not wrong. I think there's some truth in that. Is Moon Knight gonna show up in Doomsday? I hope that stupid fat hippo goddess shows up. And I hope the Scarlet Scarab shows up. You know, it's about time. Mike Porter says, it's tower time. Oh, cool. What's up, Mike? How you doing, bud? The moon haunts you. The end of that season haunts me, that's for sure. I hope Echo is in Doomsday. Oh, God. Oh, God. They should do another chair stream and have all the worst actors like fucking Gaia, Echo. Just line them up, man. Just line up like all 50 of those fucking terrible ass characters. And then at the end, RDJ lights them all on fire. You know what I mean? Like, psych, like, gotcha. And then lights them all on fire. And then just literally says, like, don't worry, daddy's home. Like, dead ass. Like, I'm not even kidding. That would be some peak marketing. Nerdy Mastermind with a $10 holla says, I don't have movie fatigue. I rewatched The Town last night and had a blast. But I do have extreme Marvel fatigue. Last Marvel film I saw was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yeah, that's fair, man. I think there's probably some people feeling that same way. Yeah, and, you know, there's still probably... I wonder how many people are watching movies. It's funny because we went over some studies during the pandemic, which were kind of fucking shocking. So, depending on how old you are... Like, I still watch a good bit of movies, and I still consider watching movies to be, like, kind of part of my pastime or whatever. Like, it'll just be, like, I'll be like, okay, at the end of the day, I want to throw a movie on or something like that. We looked at some data during the pandemic that suggested that that was not happening with younger people. Like, do you remember how you used to go into a college dorm room and everybody had, like, the same series of fucking DVDs, and it was, like, you know, Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, The Boondock Saints, and, like, you know, Lucky Number 11 and like all that kind of shit. I don't think that happens anymore. I don't think kids give a fuck. I think it's mostly games and they watch streamers and they watch content creators. It's funny, man. I don't know how much of watching movies will actually be passed to this next generation. How much will they actually care about that? I'm not sure. 20 months, baby. Hope you and the fam are doing well, along with Princess Leia, the doggo. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, she's doing a lot better. She was in here just a second ago, but she bailed or whatever. Kids engage with content, not art these days. Yeah, there's some truth in that. Yeah. Damn, I want to watch the Boondocks right now. Boondocks show is brilliant. Boondock Saints is also really brilliant. Those are both great. Mispiro says, I built the Lego Avengers Tower and I changed the A to an N on the side. My man! My man! Josh is on his way to becoming the next Mike Zero. Oh, thank God, man. You know, I'm going to tell my mom that later because I've needed her to be proud of me for a long time. So thank you. Samuel, here I am with the 10 spot, says, you think Doom will convince heroes that Loki has turned heel? Maybe this isn't where Deadpool and Wolverine come in to spread the good word about Loki being a hero at the moment. Wait, I have to read that last part again. Maybe this isn't where Deadpool and Wolverine come in to spread the good word about Loki being a hero at the moment. How does Loki and Deadpool, Wolverine and Deadpool don't know shit about Loki, bro? I don't understand. I don't understand the question. You think Doom will convince the hero? Nobody knows that Loki, like, nobody knows that Loki's there. The only person that knows Loki's there is, like, Loki's people. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you know, could be interesting, but I don't quite know what you're going for there. Josh, I don't know if this is true, but I heard the reason Wanda isn't in Doomsday is because she is in Vision Quest. Thoughts? What a terrible reason. Can you imagine? What if she actually had to answer? What if that's what it is, and she has to say that on, like, the red carpet? Oh my God, that would be terrible. I haven't heard that, man. You know, I have not heard that. I think she will be in Doomsday, but yeah, we'll see. Yo, Josh, so glad to be alive and a nerd Avenger. I'll send pics of my Horus Heresy Sanguinius figure in the Discord. It's super sick. Would love to see it, man. Excited. And I'm pumped because we're gonna play Warhammer this weekend, and we're gonna play live. I technically have, I'm trying to maybe build and paint up 5 Stern Guard veteran before Saturday, but other than that, I think I'm pretty good. So yeah, that's gonna be sick, dude. I'm excited. Can I get a happy birthday? It's my birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Bastion. Happy birthday, brother. Hope you had a good one. Did you do anything fun for your birthday? Is it possible that Kang, Mr. Griffin, and Kwang Energy Industries is the one who created the spider that bit Peter? Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. We'll see. I don't think that they're gonna do that though. Maybe Mobius will tell them. Tell who, brother? The whole fucking universe? Come on now. That would be a crazy retcon. Yeah, it would be kind of crazy. Oh my God, I'm such a pig. Rival stream win. So here's the thing. We're doing a stream tonight at 7:30, okay? And I want to play Rivals. But here's the thing. Ever since I set the stream up for 4K, I am not sure that I'm actually going to be able to play Rivals on this. Like, I think my PC might explode. If I try to do Rivals on this thing, I think it might explode. So we'll try it. We'll try it tonight at 7:30. And we'll see. Now, I'll throw this out there, though. I did download Dawn of War, the old Warhammer RTS. That'll probably run. Just saying, if you guys want to watch me play Dawn of War tonight, you know, we could all get into a nice Warhammer stream tonight. Lower your display settings in Rivals to keep your GPU. Yeah, we'll try it. You want me to unsubscribe, huh? No! I want you to get into Warhammer. Eldar pretty good right now, just so you know. Just saying. Do a painting stream? Hey, I thought about that too. Do you guys want me to just do a painting stream tonight? Like I said, I gotta paint up those Stern Guard veteran. I gotta paint them up sometime. What 2005 GPU are you using? I have a pretty good GPU. How do I get into Warhammer? Man, you just gotta dive in, man. You just gotta dive in. Sploosh. Watch the video I made. You know, there's only about 600 novels, over 3,000 short stories. So I'd start today, you know. Buddy's for sure rocking a 1070. What is it? I don't even know what a 1070 is. How do I find what mine is? I think I told Adam what it was earlier. Josh, you said Doctor Strange will be on Doom's side. Why would he? Is there more to... Has Doom something strange? Wait, what? All right, hang on. You said that Doctor Strange will be on Doom's side. Why would he? Is there more to that? Has Doom have something on Strange or know things he doesn't? Yes, I would say he knows things that Strange does not. Also, too, here's what you got to understand, and Alex Perez has kind of teased this, but when Doom goes with Clea at the end of Doctor Strange, it will be over 3 years since we have seen him, and within the dark dimension, time doesn't work the same. Like, it doesn't technically work at all. So, whatever Doctor Strange has been doing since Multiverse of Madness, it's probably a lot. And I would imagine it would take him into the Game of Worlds, very similar to like Hickman's Time Runs Out, which would see Strange and Doom arrive at the same point, both of them secretly trying to figure out what's going on with the multiverse. Does that make sense? The Truders with a 10 spot. Appreciate you, brother. Says, if Brand New Day sets up Doom's backstory a bit, like maybe he discovers he looks like Iron Man because of Kang and kills Kang because of it, and he's only in 616 to find Venom or Peter who caused an incursion. Yeah, you know, I have a thing written down for Spider-Man, and we're going to get into it because it's pretty fascinating. But one of the things we're going to talk about later is that Production Weekly thing. And the very first Production Weekly post was, it spoke to Downey being in the movie as Dr. Doom. Right? So, by the way, that post also said Peter will team up with a reluctant hero or something like that, like or somebody you wouldn't expect. And I think that's Punisher, right? So I think that, I don't know, it's worth thinking about that, because yeah, I think the Doom Kang stuff could absolutely be in there. Like, I still think that's real. And we're going to talk a little bit about Jean Grey today too, because I didn't get to record that video yesterday, but I want to just talk about it with you guys today, and try to explain it. So in 40K, you choose badass knights or people in silly hats. Yeah, you could do both though. You know what I mean? Like, so I have an Inquisitor that I like to run with my Custodes. And the Inquisitor has a funny hat. And the badass knights are awesome. So you could have both. Wizards and knights and dragons and orcs and elves and all that. Helmets. Helmets. Yeah. No, only big bots. There are some big bots. Talking about the Knights. I like the Knights. I want to get more into the Knights. I want to learn a little bit more about them. I know there's a House of Knights that has a strong relationship with the Dark Angels, which is kind of interesting to me. So I'd like to learn a little more about that. Okay, should we get into it, guys? Got a number of topics to get into today. We're of course going to be keeping an eye out for the chairs. As soon as there is a sign of chairs, if that actually happens, we're going to immediately end the stream because I don't want no part of that shit, Dewey. So please just let me know if that actually happens. Don't think it will, but yeah, it's possible, I guess. So keep an eye out for that. Y'all let me know. Okay. I guess let's start with talking about Spiders, man. We actually have some breaking news here about Spider-Man. It's pretty cool, actually. Did y'all see the Jackie Chan stuff? Did y'all see the Jackie Chan stuff, man? Let me know. Oh, and actually, let me do a thing real quick, guys, before we get into the segment. I apologize. I gotta do a thing. I gotta do a thing real quick. And I'm sorry about the delay. That one's on the house. The next one's gonna cost you. Okay. So we got more Spiders, man. It's a brand new day stuff to talk about. A lot of cool stuff, actually. So the Jackie Chan stuff is pretty wild, man. The Jackie Chan stuff is wild. And one of the reasons it's wild is somebody told me about this. Okay. So, I get hit up a lot. Some people I know that hit me up and I'm like, oh, this person definitely knows what they're talking about, but a lot of randos too, right? And so I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm kind of a not very trusting person. I don't trust people like at all. So this person hit me up a couple of weeks ago and was like, dude, you're not going to believe this, but I am working on the Spider-Man movie and Jackie Chan's here on set. And on top of that, his stunt team, Jackie Chan's stunt team, is helping Destin with this movie. And it was one of those things where it just felt too good to be true, right? It just felt too good to be true. So I saw this and I just totally ignored it. So if you're that person that DM'd me, like, I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. I don't trust anybody, right? But wild, because it ended up being true. It popped off, man. Fucking Jackie Chan and his stunt team are in charge of action guidance on Spider-Man Brand New Day. He also visited the set. This has come out and confirmed. So this person was actually telling me the truth. Jackie Chan legitimately went to the fucking Spider-Man set. Now, this is really, really cool. Okay, so first thing is, this is awesome. We were already thinking the action of this movie was going to be incredible. And, Destin put an incredible... I mean, I think Destin's Shang-Chi movie is incredible. And I think it's one of the best in Phase 4. The action's really, really good. I actually don't think it was all great. Like, there's some action that I wish was better. And I remember kind of dogging the movie a little bit when it first came out because although it does have great action, like, I wanted, like, fucking Ip Man type shit. Like, legendary action. And to me... There's two things that go into, there's multiple things, but two main things that go into an action sequence, right? It is the cinematography and it is the choreography. To me, I've always been a fan of, if you're doing great action, let the choreography guide it. Don't try to make it with the cinematography feel more actiony and better. I like... In the same way that like Tarantino or like Woody Allen will just let a camera hang in a scene and you let the actors play, I like action that just is a static shot and it's the actual moving bodies and the choreography that make it thrilling. And I felt Shang-Chi leaned a little too much on the cinematography as opposed to the choreography. But regardless of that, very, very good action film, right? And so a lot of people were like, dude, this dude doing Spider-Man is going to be peak. Not only that, But this shit with the action sequence they're filming right now, with, you know, we heard about this even before we saw the set photos. You know, they were saying they're going to take over a month to shoot this thing. It's all practical, very busy streets. You know, it's one of the most ambitious action sequences Marvel's ever done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, we were like, oh, dude, like this is pretty hype. You add Jackie fucking Chan to this mix here, my God, man, my God. I mean, Jackie himself is Hollywood royalty. Recently won, I think within the last couple of years, didn't he get an Oscar for his contributions to the industry? Do y'all remember watching the old Jackie Chan movies in theaters? And the whole thing was he does his own stunts. And so you're watching and you're just like, I cannot believe this dude is doing all these stunts. And then there's the bloopers at the end. And like, dude, some of that shit looked painful. You know what I mean? Like he literally destroyed his body for this industry. You know what I mean? So, you know, all my homies love Jackie Chan and have just nothing but respect for Jackie and what he's done. And dude, you just add that on to what's going on here with Spider-Man. It's just like, goddamn, but how much other cool shit can they even pull out of this rabbit hat? We're all really, really excited. I think the marketing's been good for Spider-Man, but I think beyond the marketing, it just feels like they're cooking. You know, and a lot of us, well, I'll just speak for myself, I guess. I have been pretty vocal over the last year and a half about how Marvel needs to like go for it, man. And there was just stuff happening in the old MCU, like in the Infinity Saga, that felt really novel and crazy. And you were just like, I can't believe this is happening. As a fan, I want to get back to that feeling of like, I can't believe this is happening. That's wish fulfillment. You know, and that's really Marvel. Like, that's like the House of Ideas. Like, that's kind of what it's predicated on. It's like, I cannot believe this is happening. Whether it's like, oh my God, the Fantastic Four in the fucking 60s have all these other heroes popping up this here and there. And it's like, holy shit, it's a big lived in thing. Or even, you know, to this day, the crazy cameo stuff and like all the characters in Endgame and stuff, right? So Marvel has kind of fallen away from that a bit. And they're not really like shocking people. They're not really wowing people. And I don't think they're doing stuff that seems ridiculous and impossible and like wish fulfillment. This feels like wish fulfillment, you know? So not to like make too big of a deal of it, but it just goes to show. It's just one more example of what is the thought process of this film. And I think there's just a lot of good fucking vibes when it comes to Spider-Man. And I'm very excited that Jackie Chan is involved. Now, there's actually even more stuff to talk about here, because before that broke, which was just earlier today, there were other things that came out over the weekend. One of the things I wanted to discuss was The Punisher. Okay, so a report came out that said that The Punisher is actually the main hero in this movie other than Spider-Man. So there's a lot of heroes in this movie, right? We just heard Yelena Belova's in this. There's rumors that Sam Wilson might be in this thing as well. But in I guess in a way to kind of like make sense of it, you know, some of the insiders have come forward to say, well, yes, there's a lot of people in this, but the main one is Punisher. He's going to get the most screen time out of any of them, which is cool. I wonder how you feel about that, chat. I'm ecstatic about that. You know what I mean? I'm ecstatic about that. I think that's great. But, you know, beyond that, the redacted guy came out and said, you know, he kind of said, like, I don't want to spoil everything here, but here's something I'll say about this. You're not going to get any, like, hey, Mr. Punisher, sir. You know, that kind of like early Tom Holland Spider-Man, like, Mr. Tony Stark, sir. You know, like that kind of energy. You're not going to be getting that kind of energy between these two characters. And in fact, they hate each other. And they have multiple standoffs in this film before reluctantly teaming up. And that just feels so good. That just feels so right. You know, because I think there were concerns. And earned concerns, you know, like, you know, Disney has, frankly, botched a few of these kind of things. So there were concerns that you'd get a watered-down Punisher, or maybe even, like, Spider-Man being weirdly friendly to Frank or something like that. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's what it is. And if we're to believe the redacted guy, and I think he's actually pretty accurate, they're going to be at odds, fighting each other, and I can't wait. Now, one of the things we saw, and this is just kind of fun, but one of the things we saw during the set photo stuff was there was like this part where they were shooting where Tom Holland is like on the windshield of the tank that Frank is driving, And we all were thinking the same thing, right? We were all thinking, oh, he's going to be rage baiting the fuck out of Frank. And I can't wait. I want to see Frank getting irritated and give that classic primal fucking Frank rage and then try to like shoot Peter and like you can't get him and all that. Like, bro, that's going to be really fun. That's going to be really, really exciting. But it made me think, and let me see if I can get this pulled up here. Production Weekly Spider-Man Brand New Day. Because in the wake of all of this sort of stuff, when, we're trying to figure out what is the deal with this movie, the Punisher thing, and the fact that Punisher, let me see if I can find this here. Where is the actual Production Weekly cast or announcement here? Because I think that would be very, very telling. June, maybe? So it starts filming in August. Oh, man. If somebody can find what I'm looking for, that would be great. I'll try one more thing here. But, Production Weekly post about Spider-Man. All right, let's see if we can find it here. Because the point that I'm trying to make is, as we continue to get new information, it's kind of interesting how you can go back to this thing that happened, and how similar and how spot on that first Production Weekly announcement was. Because, like, one of the things it says in there is discussing a team up that you wouldn't expect, right? And I forget exactly how it's phrased, but it says something to the effect of like a team up you wouldn't expect, and then within that as well, it does name drop Doctor Doom. My God, dude, this is like such a fucking mess of an article. Does anybody have that shit? So I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. Let me see here. Production Weekly, Spider-Man 4. Maybe this one. Maybe this is the one. Oh, what the hell? Oh, what the hell? You gotta pay for this shit? What? I don't believe it. What? Oh my God, I can't read that shit. Fuck. All right, well, hopefully somebody can find that for us and pull that up. But the point is, when I heard this shit about Punisher, specifically that they were going to be at odds with each other, but then reluctantly team up at the end of the film, it sounded so similar to what that very first Production Weekly post said. And within that post too, it just name drops that RDJ thing. So I still think that whatever's going on with Spider-Man Brand New Day will be connected to Doomsday in a way that's currently kind of like evading our perspective. We're just not sure exactly how that could happen, how it could all work together. But I think not only because you just think about that movie being the lead into Doomsday, but there's the Trillman story. Talked about that earlier in the week or maybe last week, where I'm pretty convinced that that dude's playing Kang. And I'll talk about Jean Grey in just a minute here, because I want to kind of get into that a bit too. But I really do think that this movie's going to have some crazy twists at the end that's going to set up not only your Doomsday stuff, but like some insano X-Men stuff, maybe just future of not only that character, but the MCU in general. I would expect Spider-Man to be a pretty big setup and a pretty big deal for all of that. And you might be like, well, wait a minute. Why? Why would it be that movie? Why wouldn't they have done more in the movies this year? And I think this year was more about setting up these players that will be a part of Doomsday, right? So you got Sam Wilson's team of Avengers. You've got the Thunderbolts or the new Avengers. And then you have the Fantastic Four. Those teams, which are really all like officially established in the films from this year, are the main players in Doomsday, at least in the beginning of Doomsday, right? But Spider-Man and the unique relationship that Spider-Man has to Doom, but also to the multiverse, I think that's actually a pretty great place to establish some of that stuff and to set it up further. You know, there's been a lot of talk from the insiders about that spell and the spell for Peter being significant in some way to what's going on. And one of the things that I said last week to you guys was, I can't stop thinking about how that spell got the whole multiverse to forget who Peter Parker is. And yet it seems like in the sacred timeline, He Who Remains split these X-Men, Avengers, and Fantastic Four up. And in certain ways, they've all forgotten who these other characters are. Right? I keep coming back to this thing that Alex said where he says the reason Doctor Strange vaguely remembered the Fantastic Four as a band from the 60s is because part of him remembers the old Prime universe where they were astronauts in the 60s that went up and got cosmic powers. Right? And so, yeah, I just kind of keep thinking that that's what it is. And today, you know, you got the Jackie Chan news, and that's fucking awesome. You got the Punisher news, it's fucking awesome. But I think in the back of all of our minds, there's just always going to remain this question of, like, what exactly is this film and what exactly is it setting up? Mystery about the villain, mystery about Doom, mystery about Doomsday. It seems like that old Production Weekly thing, it knew about the Punisher. Remember, there were articles in 2021 talking about how Marvel wanted to do Punisher and Spider-Man team up. But when it happened, it shocked us, right? Like, do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember being shocked that the Punisher was going to be in this thing? Yeah, Adam found this. So let's take a peek at this, because you guys need to see this, and then we'll end this segment here, okay? But this is worth looking at again, okay? So, zoomed in a little too much there. Okay, so it says here, following the events of Doomsday, which did change, obviously, Peter Parker is determined to live a normal life and focus on college, stepping back from his responsibilities as Spider-Man. However, peace is short-lived when a deadly new threat emerges, endangering his friends and forcing Peter to reconsider his promise. With the stakes higher than ever, Peter reluctantly returns to his Spider-Man identity and finds himself teaming up with an unlikely ally to protect those he loves. Andrew Garfield, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr. mentioned to join the cast. Now, look, obviously a lot of that has changed because this movie was going to be after Doomsday, and it has changed, okay? But do you think they changed the entire fucking movie when that happened, or did they just change elements of the movie, right? Because it seemed like even when it was going to take place after Doomsday, it seemed like it was just going to be a regular-ass New York City story with, like, a weird twist and some weird stuff hanging over it. Pretty interesting. Reluctantly returning to the Spider-Man identity to find himself teaming up with an unlikely ally to protect those he loves. Man, that's definitely Punisher. Like, that's definitely Punisher, and I think it was always going to be Punisher. Regardless of what they did to this thing, it was going to be Punisher. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Man, not a lot of people are talking about this, but there's still some buzz out there about Andrew potentially being in this movie. Michael Keaton is all but confirmed to be in the movie, but we're not 100% sure. But there's a big prison scene thing. I think that's probably where you'll get Vulture. And Robert Downey Jr. mentioned to join the cast, and he's Dr. Doom. It says right here in the Production Weekly thing. So again, like, I think, you know, not to say that that's 100%. That's not like the smoking gun, right? But damn, bro, like I just think there's a lot there that points to a plan that they have had, and I still think Kang and Doom are potentially as part of this movie. So there you go. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Andrew said he's not in it, though. Okay, yeah, we should just believe him. You know, I always believe Andrew Garfield. It's like a policy I have. Truders says, what if the spell made Kang forget who Spider-Man is, and Spider-Man is the anchor being for 616, so Kang goes undercover to investigate Spider-Man? Something like that could be what it is. Something like that could be what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of mystery. Andrew never lies. Exactly. If it was a page 1 rewrite, we would have heard about it. That's also true. Yeah, that's also true. I mean, look, I was told, and you never know, right? You hear a lot of things, but I was told it was going to be a Battleworld movie, and now it's not. So the Battleworld concept kind of gets scrapped because of the switcheroo with Doomsday. But there's still a lot of stuff they wanted to do in this story, so I think a lot of that's still remaining. Isn't Keaton stuck in the Sonyverse? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how all that works. You know? Has something to do with Spider-Man, I guess. What about Andrew Lincoln? Oh, yeah, Andrew Lincoln. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but by the time it gets into production weekly, that's pretty far down the road. Oh, yeah, correct. I mean, the whole thing was like, it's an industry thing. So it's so the people in the industry know, yo, they're cooking this. Here's kind of what it is so far. And it puts people in the industry on notice, you know? What about Andrew Jackson? Man, look up what happened to Andrew Jackson when he tried to nationalize loaning money. Interesting cap. We don't bring up the Sonyverse. I don't even know what that is. What door? Should Doom have Dafoe's Goblin work for him? Absolutely. Do we hear anything official about the beef on set? No, we haven't heard anything official, no. Yeah. All we know about that shit, and it is kind of wild how it all happens. Again, like, dude, Marvel's fucking dead, and yet some random rumor can hit TMZ. Oh, nobody cares about Marvel anymore. But also, TMZ needs to clarify that the stuff that Roka started, you know what I mean? Like, oh boy. Just finished Thunderbolts and still love it. Quality over quantity Marvel. That's it. Much love. Yeah, I hear you. I really like Thunderbolts. I'm excited to watch it again. And I kind of think Marvel's in this place where, and maybe this is just the strategy that Kevin has as well. I mean, I think they just need to make really good stuff. They just need to make really good stuff and probably weather the storm of whatever this is, whether it's fatigue of their stuff, just general fatigue, movie fatigue, whatever it is. Weather the storm. Just make high quality. Now, I would say you could still probably do a little more spectacle, but doesn't it seem like that's what they're doing? We're literally talking about Jackie Chan on the Spider-Man movie, right? Yeah. Not surprising that a cast of a 40 superstar had some people beef. Performing is high tension environment. I agree. Oh, I absolutely agree with you, man. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Insider just revealed Downey is not in the suit, chair suit. He'll be reading lines off stage. Oh, no. Almighty says, it'd be crazy if Brand New Day was a take on Spider-Man's Shattered Dimension story. It would explain it being street level and multiversal. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So should I take you through my theory here? So let me talk to you about this Jean Grey thing, okay? And this, I don't know that I'm right here, okay? I don't know that I'm right, but I think I'm right. And I think this is what it is. And I do think Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey. And I need to kind of like explain it. I need to explain it. And I need to tell you what's going on here. Because I believe, and just watch out for this, chat. I want you to really pay attention to this. I would imagine within the next week or two, the insiders and scoopers are going to tell you that Sadie Sink is playing an all-new original character. And in fact, they're going to tell you her name starts with a K. Okay? And there's no character named this name in all of the Spider-Man mythos. Okay? Here's the thing, though. What I think is going on is something that, even if that's technically true, even if she's technically this new character that starts with a K, and we've never heard of this character whatsoever, she's still Jean Grey. And I need to explain why. I need to explain to you what is happening. Why did I come up with this? What's the deal? Well, one reason is because Jeff Snyder, who's very good, first had her pegged as Jean Grey. And in fact, I remember he said she was going to be Jean Grey. And then one of the people he said was going to be Cyclops, I think also got cast in Spider-Man. Okay. Which I remember at the time being like, why are these, like, it almost felt like Feige was watching Jeff scoop this stuff and say, Snyder scooped another new X-Men, fuck it, cast him in Spider-Man so that nobody thinks they're going to be an X-Men. That's what it was literally starting to feel like, where I was like, why are all of the people that Jeff is saying are potentially the new X-Men characters in Spider-Man? What is the deal here, okay? Well, then in one of their recent Q&As, Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus revealed this whole thing about how the separated timelines that He Who Remains used to create the sacred timeline, which again, I think is like various threads. When you look at the sacred timeline, even in Loki, it's threads. It's multiple universes. It's not just one. This is obvious if you watch the very end of Loki. It's like, damn, like there's multiples there. Well, what Alex had said was there was a version of the universe before all of that where they're all together. And the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Avengers, and the Spider-Man characters all in one universe. Just think of it as like Marvel Comics universe. It's just like Marvel Comics, all of them together. But He Who Remains, after the Multiversal War, separated them all out. Now, what Alex said was that this is why when in the 838 universe, Doctor Strange, our Doctor Strange, hears the Fantastic Four, and he says, didn't you chart in the 60s? Didn't you guys chart in the 60s as a band? But we all know Steven wouldn't forget that shit. He had a photographic memory. He's super into music. He would know for sure if they were a band in their 60s. And yet, he has this vague memory of them. Steven doesn't have vague memories of shit. Anyway, point is, Alex said that the reason that was happening in that scene was because at some level, Stephen Strange remembered what the old universe was like when the Fantastic Four in the 60s were actually the astronauts and went to space and all of that, okay? You got to walk with me on this. It's crazy. The next thing he said was that's why Eric Lyncher is just some guy. And that's why Professor Charles Xavier is just a regular college professor. Okay? Now, keep walking with me on this because it reminds me of the Ultimates comics, which, synergy. A couple of years ago, Marvel Studios did a revamp of the Ultimates universe. And in this Ultimates universe, you had the Maker, an evil version of Reed Richards, recreate a version of the main timeline. I want you to really listen to me here. I'm talking about a story that takes the universe 616 in comics and creates a branch timeline version of it. And you have this guy, evil Reed Richards, go into that timeline and make it different. He stops the spider from biting Peter. And then 20 some years later, at the age of 36 years old, young Tony Stark is like, hey, Peter Parker, you were supposed to be this hero. This guy made it so you wouldn't be. That's why you're feeling depressed. You're actually supposed to be Spider-Man. Do you want to be Spider-Man? And then he becomes Spider-Man at 36 years old and gets his powers back, and it's really, really crazy. But if you really think about what that means, it means that you have a timeline that everybody knows, and then you had a dude that could control time, create a branch timeline of it, and fucking prevent certain things from happening. That's exactly what the sacred timeline is, as it is explained via He Who Remains, the Loki show, etc., etc. And then if you take into account what Alex was saying, well, all of a sudden that implies that in different universes, so the way I kind of think of it is like this. It's probably the case that all of these characters need to exist. That is because of eternity. Everything that ever was, will be, or could be is personified in a cosmic entity known as eternity. And I think eternity is somewhat of it's sort of like guardrails for what's possible within the universe of the multiverse. That's how I view eternity. This is where you get some things in the content like the fixed moment in time, the stuff from What If, the episode with Doctor Strange, which, by the way, back in the day before we all got like burnt out on Marvel and Phase 4 and 5, I remember multiple articles saying that Kevin Feige was heavily involved in that particular episode of What If. The What If episode was Supreme Strange, where he tries to break the fixed moment in time with like the books and all that. That was something that Kevin was really, really involved in because it's really important for how things are going to proceed. And then you look at the Across the Spider-Verse movies. What do those movies have? Those movies have canon events, and it's a similar idea. Things have to happen a certain way. If they don't happen a certain way, then it throws off the entire timeline, and the timeline is destroyed. And we know for certain that the Spider-Verse movies and the MCU Secret War plan, those two things, they were working together. That's why in Across the Spider-Verse, when Miguel pops open the web of life and destiny, you see the branch timeline that looks exactly like the fucking timelines in Loki. That wasn't an accident. That was on purpose. And I also know that at one time, Miguel O'Hara was going to be revealed to be working with Kang. 100%. That was real. I've talked about it a couple times. In fact, it wasn't like that was going to be a big, big thing with Miguel O'Hara connected to Kang. Okay, so obviously Marvel's plan for whatever the fuck they were cooking for Secret Wars, because I keep telling you guys, like, yes, things went off the rails, things didn't work, but they always knew they were going to do Secret Wars. Dead ass. When Captain America got on that time platform in 2019, Kevin knew he was going to do Secret Wars. And so a lot of stuff gets set up for Secret Wars. And it seems that one thing that was very important for Secret Wars was this idea of whether it's eternity or not, fixed moments in time, canon events, things have to happen the way that they happen. Now, let's go all the way back to Jean Grey. It would appear, due to the fixed moments in time, and it would appear due to eternity, these characters had to exist. The Fantastic Four have to exist in all the timelines. But I think what Kang did was he made it so in certain timelines, they're just regular ass people. And yet, if he ripped a part of that out and made a different timeline where they get their powers, it somehow satisfies eternity. It satisfies the needs of the multiverse, the canon events, et cetera, et cetera. And so you're sort of able to have them be separated, still exist, not break reality, but not be all together. Because the main thing that we're all thinking is Kang did not want the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and the Avengers teaming up. Isn't that obvious? He didn't want them teaming up, probably because he fought a whole multiversal war, and it was a big fucking problem when they all teamed up. So, let's go back to Jean Grey and Sadie Sink. So, Jeff Snyder randomly reports that she's going to be Jean Grey. Then she gets cast in Spider-Man. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting about that is Jeff had already said that just like the Russos did with Spider-Man and Black Panther, it was possible they were casting the X-Men characters. And by the way, he doubled down on this recently in one of the shows, so you know it's still real. But he said they're casting them right now, despite what everybody's telling you. And it's very possible they're casting them not just for that movie that Jake Schreier's working on right now, but for other films. Because think about it. How did the Russos set up Black Panther and Spider-Man? In a Captain America movie. In a Captain America movie. That's what they do. They like to do this. So it would make sense because, by the way, another big rumor that everybody's forgetting these days is that the Russos are confirmed to be helping with the Mutant Saga. Now, right now, their hands are very likely full of Brie Larson. I mean, of problems on Doomsday set. But they are helping with the Mutant Saga. What does that mean, helping with the Mutant Saga? It means exactly what we're talking about right now. Okay? So I want you to walk with me on this. And I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong about this. I've been wrong before. But do you see why I think what I think now? I think in a couple of weeks, the Scooper's going to come out and say she's a totally original character that starts with a K. Might even be an Asian-sounding name, to be honest. And she's just going to be some person, maybe a bartender, maybe somebody at college or whatever. But what she really is Jean Grey. She's Jean Grey that never got her mutant powers, that was prevented from becoming a mutant and having her mutant powers by Kang. And Tillman, being in this movie to me, feels like he's Kang. Okay? Now, another thing that makes me really think that this is what it is comicbook.com recently published that whatever it is with Sadie Sink has a massive twist. There's a huge twist that Marvel is desperately trying to keep quiet with regards to the Sadie Sink character. Well, I ask you, what the fuck could be a bigger twist than this? What the fuck else could be a bigger twist than this? That she actually is Jean Grey, and she's going to be Jean Grey after the MCU reboot. And in fact, right now, she's like artificially not Jean Grey. Now, one other part of this that I think is really fucking crazy, okay? By the way, like, dude, like, I'm pretty good at this shit, bro. Like, it's got, I mean, I know, nobody likes when you got a little ego on you. My fucking bad. Okay, but it's crazy. Like, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at this. Anyway, so here's the other thing that's really wild. Let's say I'm right. If I'm right, and the multiverse is collapsing, then what would be happening to this Jean Grey character? Somebody should know what I'm getting at here. If I'm right, let's just consider that I'm right. You know what I mean? You might be like, no, there's no way. Just for a second, as a thought experiment, consider that I'm right. If I'm right, then what is happening to Jean Grey as the multiverse is collapsing? Anybody? Because this is where it really clicks. She would be having dreams of her more real self dying. Go back to Multiverse of Madness. This is actually really important. So go back to Multiverse of Madness. Multiverse of Madness suggests that all the dreams we have are of other versions of ourselves. And it's not just when you're dying, but yeah, you die in a lot of dreams, and that's other people dying. That's versions of you dying in the multiverse. Wong even says, well, what about that one where I'm like dancing naked or being chased by a naked something or other, and he's like somewhere out there in the multiverse? That's real, okay? America doesn't dream because she's the only one in the multiverse. Now, normally in an infinite multiverse, you probably wouldn't even notice this. It doesn't really matter. What's the big deal? If the multiverse is fucking collapsing, then this Jean Grey, little old Sadie Sink, would be having nightmares of herself with her own powers dying. I mean, come on, man. What a cool fucking way to establish Jean Grey. And I'm not saying they're going to do this because, like, I don't know, bro. It just seems too good to be true at some level, right? But think about it. Dude, what if this character is having these nightmares? What if Peter's having nightmares? What if she's seeing herself in dream after dream after dream, being this powerful mutant character, being a telepath, and dying? Wow. That'd be pretty wild. That'd be a pretty cool thing to put into a movie. That'd be a really interesting way to establish the X-Men not as X-Men in a Spider-Man film. So, yeah, I mean, look, I don't know, and we'll see, but watch out, man. Just watch out. Watch what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks as more and more of this stuff comes out there. I'm telling you right now, I still think it's going to be Jean. I think no matter what they try to tell you in the next couple of weeks, I think she's Jean. And I also finally figured out a perfect theory that's so cool that even if sources dead ass tell me that's not what it is, I can tell them, you don't even know what is fucking possible. Shut your goddamn mouth when you're talking to me. I have ascended. It's crazy. So anyway, what do you guys think about that theory? Dreams of Famke Jensen and Sophie Turner dying. I think that could work. I think that could be really cool. Yeah, but also versions of herself, too. This explains Ralph Bohner. Yeah, it does kind of explain Ralph Bohner, doesn't it? That is actually kind of interesting now that you bring it up. Is this what they were cooking the whole time? Were they cooking this shit up the whole time? Interesting. There's a Norman Osborn without Oscorp in 616. The theory would suggest this, yes. Yeah. Yep, pretty interesting. Why are you so sure of the Scoopers calling her something K? Oh, you'll see. You'll see. How reliable is that comic book site you mentioned? I don't even know what comic book site I mentioned. What are you talking about, brother? So would that mean there's an F4 in 616 without their powers? Yes, or there were. Yes. When is the cast reveal? Hopefully never, dude. Dear God, she's playing Kang. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I think you're always right, Josh. Not always. But it is interesting, right? Will you forgive them for Ralph Boner if that's what they cooked? This would be an acceptable way to get around the Ralph Boner stuff. Yeah. It would. It could also explain how being near the stones awakened that power. Because she was always supposed to have that power. Right? The stones somewhat represent the natural order, the natural flow of time. So it's actually possible that proximity to the stones could undo some of the stuff that was going on with, whatever Kang was doing. Will we see Sadie Sink Kang versus Mila Kunis, The Thing, in Secret Wars? God, I hope so. And I want it long, man. A 35-minute sequence at least. Would make sense to enter the MCU mutants and Spider-Man. He's probably going to play a big role in the mutant saga, too, as Tony Stark type of guy. Duh! But yes, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. The stones could be linked to eternity. Yes, I think that could be, yeah. Someone explain Quicksilver and Kraven then. Sony gonna Sony. Sony gonna Sony, baby. Any other questions, comments, concerns about this? I think the Celestial in the ocean will end up causing the mutant gene to appear rapidly. It's possible. That theory's been around for a while. I don't hate it. You know what I mean? I don't hate that theory. Removing the stones is what caused the incursions. It's possible. So is Doom the main villain of Brand New Day? I think he might be. I'm not sure, though. Question. Who's you? What new X-Men cast? What? Oh, man. Try again, brother. Josh, do you think Thor's daughters, a part of Eternity, will need to die to recast the timeline? Yeah, in fact, I think that's probably the way they'll do it. Is like they're out on an adventure, and she gets sick and falls down, and then starts to die, or maybe even like dies in his arms. Like, what if like that little Eternity love girl dies, and that's how Thor finds out that something is very wrong with the cosmos? That'd be kind of cool. That would be pretty chill. Education in the United States is going well. Oh, hell yeah. What's Peter's girlfriend name? That was the detective or some shit after MJ. What? Use her budget for sequels. Absolutely. That's why Thor is crying? Maybe. The Exodus says, is it possible that Doom split the 616 into separate threads to create Path of Least Resistance to Loki, and he gets the credit instead of Kang? I don't think Doom split them. No, I don't think so. But you do know what this means for RDJ and Tony to get. I mean, I'm surprised nobody's brought this up. But do you know what that means, Chad? About Tony and Doom, right? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? Oh no! Oh fuck! What is it? Hello? Oh, you don't? Well, I have to put that behind a paywall, so, you know, I'll let you know later, but I got to put it behind a paywall. I mean, you could probably figure it out if you just think about it a little bit. Do you think it's going to be difficult to continue talking about doomsday theories for another year and a half? No, I actually don't think so. In fact, I'll answer your question in a really ironic way. No, it was actually more difficult ever since RDJ and Doomsday was announced. It was actually more difficult to talk about all the other shit. Deadass. It was actually difficult to talk about fucking Daredevil. It was difficult to talk about Thunderbolts. It's difficult to talk about Captain America, boring ass New World. It was difficult to even talk about the Fantastic Four movie. Because ever since RDJ stepped on that stage and came out there, the real hype, the real interest, and what people really want to talk about is this. It's not any of the other shit they're doing. So I actually feel completely opposite of you. I'll talk about this shit. If they delay Doomsday for another year, I'll happily talk about it for 2 fucking years straight. That's my answer. We never met Tony Stark, just Doom without powers. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? I mean, it's basically what I said. It's not, it might not be exactly what I said, but it's basically what I said. It's what I called. I think, you know. That's bad. If people think we never got the real Tony or this not the real Doom, then people won't like it. Yes, but okay, so let me just explain to you how it's going to work, because you're not wrong. It brings things into question. Okay? But this is why they will fuck. I mean, I explained this already in a big video, but let me just explain it again so to help you out here. When Tony Stark has the Infinity Stones in Endgame, and he says, I am Iron Man, and he snaps his fingers. The reason he said that is because he had already went and fought in the Secret Wars. He already knew this about himself. He had discovered the truth about Doom and his own identity. And in that moment, when he is snapping that, and in that moment when he is saying, I am Iron Man, it is like a reaffirmation. It is this conversation about nature versus nurture. If this is real, it will mean that he's Iron Man, not because he was born Tony Stark. He's Iron Man because he chooses to be Iron Man. So in a way, it actually is more affirming to his identity than ever. It actually adds even more emphasis to it, because otherwise that line is actually kind of corny if you think about it, where he's like, I'm Iron Man, like, what the fuck is that? But in the context of this conversation, saying I am Iron Man makes all the sense in the world. It's why he said it. Does that make sense? Or it was from the first movie? Well, look, so if you know anything about how Marvel built what they built, which is like, you know, you'd have to take a second here and explain that, you know, Infinity War and Endgame were incredibly successful and everybody loved that shit. I mean, there's some people that didn't, but the bottom line is, like, the reason we're all fucking here is because it worked and it was the best thing in the world. Okay? And you have to understand that it was not as though Marvel planned everything out perfectly. Most writers don't. Most ongoing stories are not built that way. How they are built is you have interesting threads, you have interesting things that are said that maybe fans resonate with, and then a good writer can recontextualize them and give them more emphasis moving forward. So even though when they wrote that first line in the first movie of, like, I am Iron Man, they did not know they were going to do that again 10 years later versus Thanos, the ability to see it as a thread that would feel satisfying for the audience to pull together is good fucking writing. And all these idiots that want to act like it's not because it wasn't meticulously planned from the start. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're stupid, silly, slack-jaw, fuck-face idiots. That was maybe a little bit too harsh, but that's how I feel. Like, that's how I feel about these people. Is they're like, oh, that's not actually what it was. You see, I can... Shut the fuck up, dude. As if you haven't enjoyed many things in life that were built that same way. So fucking stupid. Any other comments? Grandmaster Chota, incredible name, says, recollect in Endgame when Tony Stark was talking with Howard about the date of his kid, and Tony Stark looked confused. What if actual Tony Stark died at birth and was adopted? I mean, yeah. I mean, I've said this before. That's what I think it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think it is. So, yes. Yeah, I'm going to start calling you guys clankers. Have you seen this, by the way? That the internet has decided that clankers is that... Why is Josh talking like Dana Carr? That's how much you fucked me up, Kaylin. That's how much chat has fucked me up. I'm talking like Dana Carvey over here. I'm the master of fucking disguise over here. Yeah, so anyway, clankers. Apparently it's a real slur now. Yeah. Clankers is an actual slur. And you're all a bunch of fucking clankers to me, I tell you. So we're holding on to this slur, and we're not going to give in to the woke mob. Clankers is here to stay. Okay? Take my eyes, not the clankers. The clanker slur. Anyway. Chill with the hard R. Yeah, no, clanka, I guess. I don't know. Some of you deserve it. What exactly is a clanker? So a clanker is actually a slur from Star Wars. It's what they call droids. It's a, I think it's actually kind of funny because it's like calling people bots in a way. But, yeah. Josh just got demonetized for swearing? Maybe. Yeah. Clanka is crazy. It is a little crazy, isn't it? It is a little crazy. The Tony equal Doom theory is ass. Worst idea ever. If they go that route, MC deserves decline. Ultimate slop fest. Okay, understood, man. You know, we got it. Roger that, you dumbass clanker. Woo! We're on fire. We're on fire today. It was a good neighborhood till the clankers moved in. Jesus Christ. Okay. Shall we move on? Oh my God. Clanker sounds like somebody. That's a cranker. Sounds like someone with an AI girlfriend. Yeah. Okay. Take My Eyes. Deep cut for getting Sarah Marshall. That's a great movie, yeah. Did you ask if anyone identifies as a clanker in chat? No, because I'm mean. When did Josh start carrying water for Marvel? Must have been 2012, 2013 or something like that. Doomsday opens with Iron Man snapping his fingers, then Doom wakes up from the nightmare being in the FF universe. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad one. I prefer the Peggy, which we're about to talk about, Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers. I prefer the opening scene of, like, Peggy getting them cheeks clapped like crazy and like juxtaposed against universes being destroyed, incursions, and like screams of billions of people as they cry out and are disintegrated from existence. And then maybe even like some Wagner or something, or like just some like Ride of the Valkyries, just fucking intense ass music and smack 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 smack, something like that. And then, but that's just because, I mean, I'm a man of taste. So It's probably not for everybody, but that would be the way I'd prefer to open the film. How's the Secret Lab chair? It's all right, man. It's all right. Dun, 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 dun. That's not even Wagner, dude. You guys are so uneducated. Okay, let's talk about this scene with RDJ and them. Okay, so man, it must have been, I think it was Monday. We talked about this. There's a rumor that they're shooting a scene at the home of Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers. And of course, we already know a lot has been out there in the news about Peggy Carter, Steve Rogers, when Steve decided to, just go live with Peggy and clap them cheeks. It seems he clapped the cheeks of the fucking multiverse as well. Caused the incursions and caused a lot of problems. So that's been a rumor that's out there. And we just found out that they're filming the scenes. They're actually beginning to film the scenes with Robert Downey Jr., with Haley Atwell. And they're filming at that place, the house where it all went down. And on over the weekend, I think, My Time to Shine came out and said that we're going to have that scene filming soon with 4 different actors. Okay. And we were trying to figure out who the actors were. You guys thought it was going to be 6 different actors, and I educated you guys. So it's like, that's not what it says. There's 4 different actors, right? And so we talked a lot about that. We came up with some cool ideas and cool different ways that the scene could go. Well, according to Daniel RPK, the scene will be Steve, Peggy, and Robert Downey Jr. Now, he didn't mention a 4th person. Okay. But that's kind of interesting. So Peggy, Steve, Robert Downey Jr., is that it? Is Downey playing both? Is he going to play Doom and Iron Man in this scene? Or is there maybe Loki in this scene? I'm not really sure. Now, one of the things we talked about before was it seems like these are stunt doubles as well. So it seems like there's going to be some action here. That's kind of interesting. If it's just those 3... it kind of seems like Peggy and Steve are probably screwed. So it could be the case that somebody else is there to help those characters. Maybe Loki. That's kind of like my pick. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be Loki. Like, I'm kind of thinking like it all comes down to this. He's there to stop it all. And Loki finally gets off of his chair, shuts this shit down once and for all, and maybe even helps to send Steve and them away. But you know what? There's another thing I thought of too. So there's a scene in... See, this one kind of doesn't work, but it could be interesting. There's a scene in Secret Wars where Doctor Strange flips on Doom and scatters some of the Avengers to the wind to protect them. And even though they're together and they're homies and all that, like, Steven he has to help the Avengers. So what if it's that? Like, what if it's Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom? They roll up to this house. They're in an agreement of what it is and what it has to be. And somehow, some way, Doctor Strange has a change of heart and, like, helps Peggy and them to escape. Like, that could be what it is, which would be kind of interesting. I'm really leaning on it being Loki, though. What do you guys think? What do you think of this, and who do you think it could be in this scene here? Really interested. We had a lot of fun coming up with ideas last time. Reed and Doom racing to Steve's house, and then they enter. Steve is just clapping cheeks. Maybe Reed could be a good pick there. The trouble is, though, that Reed... So here's the thing, right? Reed doesn't feel like he belongs in that scene. Because even though it's Doctor Doom, it's really kind of Tony, as we've been talking about, right? It's really kind of Tony. Tony and Steve, that makes perfect sense. Those two, the heart of the story about them, the relationship, the fucking dialogue, my God. Like, there's a lot there. Peggy's there because of Steve, and she's like the thing that he betrayed the whole multiverse for and all that. So that kind of makes sense. I think Loki's a good pick here because not just as the character that he was, but as the character he is. That's a good point too. Pedro finished filming already. That's actually a great point. Little heck. So probably not him, but beyond that, like, he doesn't fit thematically there. So it would be hard to have him in that scene and it to carry the same weight, unless he's just totally background, right? So if it's Loki, it feels great because, you know, of his history with these characters, but also because he's the god of stories and he knows like all this shit about what it, you know, what it was, what happened, what's going on with all these universes, et cetera, the collapse of it all. Loki's there as a person that made the choice himself, you know, and changed and had this whole different arc and is now the god of stories. And he's watching Steve try to become who he's supposed to be. I don't know. Like, there's just something there. Like, that feels right as an ingredient. I don't think it could be Pedro. What else? Who else do you think it is? Peggy pegging Steve? I mean, maybe they take turns. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2025. I don't know what year it is in the MCU, you know? Maybe they, you know, they're into that sort of stuff. You know, it's their business. It's not really our business. Maybe the TVA, Strange and Clea. Strange works in the scene. Strange works in the scene better than Reed for a lot of the reasons we talked about. He knows the characters, he's been involved, all that sort of stuff, right? Will the MCU ever bring back sex appeal? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so, man. I would really like that. I saw a photo today. I actually couldn't tell if it was AI or not, so I didn't share it. But it had like Florence Pugh, Elizabeth Olsen, and Scarlett Johansson all together, and there's just like these fucking fine-ass, foxy fucking ladies. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, the MCU has a lot of talent, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I hope so. I hope so. I hope we switcheroo. Missed your super chat. I will get the super chat in a second. Is it relevant to this conversation? Hey, Josh, back again. What if Peggy dies and that causes the incursions to get worse? Okay, interesting. Appreciate the 5, man. What if Peggy dies and that's what causes the incursions to get worse? I mean, maybe. The thing is, there's a lot we don't know about this scene. The thing that keeps bugging me is, like, why does Doom think that he can kill Steve and stop the incursions? Isn't that not how time travel works? And if it is how time travel works, why is that exact moment so important? Like, there's got to be something else we're missing here, you know? Brie Larson in the Gooner Bait costume. You know what's funny about that? She did it herself. I forget what talk show host it was, but she had the twins out, man. She had the girls out. It's these women know what it is too. It's just such a weird, like, I don't know how we got here, where like we can't talk about this, acknowledge that we don't know what the fuck it is, but then Brie knows she needs to win a couple points back, and she, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? So yes, put her in the Gooner Bait. Cham Brick says the clap of the cheeks heard round the multiverse. Indeed, sir. Indeed, respectfully. It doesn't make sense to me because I thought the incursions were caused by multiversal interactions, not time travel. Yes, but isn't time travel causing the erosion of space-time? Like, it is kind of tricky. Like, I've thought about this a lot myself. If he's in 616, I don't see how that causes an incursion. If he goes back to live with Peggy in 616, because there's all these theories that, like, he was there as an old man during the funeral, helping to carry, you know, Peggy's corpse and all that. So I don't see how that causes an incursion. Do you know what I mean? I suppose if he went back in time and caused a branch that was essentially a branch of the sacred timeline, that would cause an incursion and possibly be real fucking bad, right? But I don't understand it. I don't think we've had that fully explained, and it's either going to be explained away with some bullshit, or there's something that we're missing, you know? Could the fourth actor be Kang? It's possible. It's possible. I almost feel like if Kang is in Spider-Man, if Tillman is playing Kang, then part of the calculus there is like, let's get this question answered before we get into Doomsday, because there's already enough going on in Doomsday that I don't know that they have enough time to really like wrap up the Kang stuff and fully appreciate it. So yeah. Diamond G says, where are the chairs? I don't think we're getting chairs, brother. I don't think we're getting no chairs today, bro. 2 caps in one universe, right? Yes, technically, yeah. Yeah. Each universe has its own timeline, and any changes to a timeline causes a new universe. That is the way we understand it right now, yes. But remember that after Kang, so here's something that's kind of interesting, and I don't understand exactly what it means, but I keep coming back to the character of Victor Timely. When He Who Remains was going to be destroyed, he told Ravonna to go take his notebook, which was written by Ouroboros, and drop it off on a variant of himself that was living on the 616 timeline in the 1950s. But that's wild because we know that Kang doesn't exist until the 31st millennia. So how is there a Kang living on the sacred timeline in the 50s, known as Victor Timely, when we don't even get Kang in that timeline proper until 1,000 years into the future? So technically, there were multiple Kangs living on the sacred timeline, which probably is actually obvious when you think about it. Luca says, Josh, your theories sound thought out and awesome, but I feel like Marvel will just let us down and do some basic crap and push unpopular characters. Yeah, I can't blame you for feeling that way, but at the same time, I think the truth is Marvel has a lot of these ideas. They did fuck it up, and part of why you feel the way you feel is because they restricted things, and it made it seem like that they weren't actually tied together. So, like, for instance, all the Nexus being shit in WandaVision, Benedict Cumberbatch was supposed to be in that show. And there was going to be a much more direct through line between Stephen Strange, Wanda, Magic, the multiverse, all this sort of stuff. They end up kind of removing most of it. And I think the thought process from their perspective was, we're not going to be able to figure this out. We know what it is. Let's just pull it back and keep it ambiguous. And unfortunately, after several of those, it ended up just feeling all ambiguous. It ended up just losing the feeling that it was thought out. But I would argue it is still thought out. I just think it got out of hand, and there were so many things that were setting up that they just had to like let stuff fall by the wayside. You know what I'm saying? Victor's book inspired the creation of the Loom for He Who Remains to Refer. Victor is not Kang. In a sense, you're right. In a sense, you're wrong. Because otherwise, why would he do this only after he knew he was going to die? Because remember, Miss Minutes tries to stop Loki and Sylvie one last time. And I know Kang wrote all this shit and knew it was like an eventual inevitable thing. But it appears as though even right at the end, he was technically trying to stop it, and he had a plan that he would only have to enact if he could not stop it. Does that make sense? Don't trust Miss Minutes. Yeah, I think Miss Minutes is bad news for sure. He was setting the path for him to become He Who Remains again, right? It appears so. But then it's like, okay, but why doesn't he need that in the 31st millennia? Like, why isn't it? It's not the origin that he describes of himself. So what is the deal there? Is it because the origin of himself? Like, because here's something I keep coming back to. It could be the case that the reason He Who Remains had to keep these characters around and separate them was because if he really totally recreated everything from scratch, he himself would not exist. Like, does that make sense? Like, there's potential here that Kang needed to remake using what was there, as opposed to recreating from scratch. Because if he recreates from scratch, maybe he doesn't exist. Does that make sense? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. Here's one thing that I'll say that's kind of cool about all of this though. Michael Waldron. Guys, over the past week, I went back and watched a ton of Michael Waldron interviews. I've read a bunch of his comments, and I've read a lot of his scripts and stuff too. I think Waldron is a brilliant guy. Waldron was thinking about all of this stuff very deeply. I mean, the reason Loki is as good as it is because of Michael Waldron. You know? He knew what he was doing, and he's super smart, dude. Like, he's just a really fucking smart writer. And it's awesome that he's involved in Doomsday. He is going to help make sense of all of this. So yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts before we end this segment here about the oh, his stuff stinks? You didn't like Loki? Peggy's death in Civil War, an absolute event that Cap was trying to prevent, or change is causing problems. Maybe they are always meant to be apart. Yeah, it's possible. I actually kind of like that. Yeah, I think that could be. Grace Randolph hates Michael Waldron for some reason. I think she hates him because of Multiverse of Madness. And look, everybody's free to have their opinion, but like, look, the thing I personally have noticed about Multiverse of Madness is it pissed off a bunch of anti-woke people, but it also pissed off a bunch of woke people, which is my favorite thing to do. I love pissing both sides off as well because I think they're both equally as stupid. But it also shows that I think maybe both sides are just wrong. And it's actually just good writing. You know, there's a tendency for a lot of these folks, whether they're on the right or whether they're on the left, to think about the optics. Right? You hear this word all the time, optics. Optics is like, how does this make me feel about real world shit? And I just think it's really silly, regardless of what side you're on, to like let that really affect your viewing of a thing. Now, to be fair, that is what it is, because you guys have vocalized and spoken about it till the fucking cows come home. You don't like it when there's some woke shit because it makes you feel things and you think about things you don't want to think about. And some of you don't like it when it's optically bad for the male gaze or feminist ideas and all this sort of stuff. It's all the same thing by a different name. It's I am taking my real world shit into this story, and if certain things happen that trigger things that make me think about the real world, then I'm going to say this movie has bad optics. And the reality is, like, a bunch of anti-woke people hated Multiverse of Madness because of Scarlet Witch and America Chavez, and then a bunch of woke people hated it because of the treatment of Scarlet Witch. I would just offer that they're both wrong as per usual. That's going to piss a lot of you off because a lot of you are those people. But that's my take. Like, I've always thought that about that film. This movie is amazing. And people that don't like the depiction of Wanda, you're wrong, bro. I mean, you're just wrong. Because it's a function of what the story needed to be. She's absolutely fucking chilling in the film, and it's incredible. Pushes the thing like with a pulse that's just magic, really. And also, if you watch the end of WandaVision, and you walked away thinking that she had character development and had learned lessons and grown as a character, I don't want you near my children, because that's not what happened. This lady was a psycho. She flips back and forth, even in the finale, between fucking over the townspeople or fucking over her kids. She's a psychopath. Okay? So people that took away from WandaVision that like Wanda was like on the right path and then Waldron totally derailed her character, holy shit, you don't know what you're talking about, in my opinion. Okay? So, yeah, that's what I say to that, you know? And again, you could totally feel the way that you feel. It's totally fine. And people have the right to enjoy entertainment the way that they want to. If optics is something you really care about, I think you're lame, but you're also valid. It's fine. Like, you can do that. Sticky Savage says 3 things causing incursions. 1, the X-Men and Fantastic Four not existing in 616. That's kind of interesting. Cap staying with Peggy. 3, Loki taking his throne. Doom is trying to fix it. So that is kind of interesting, right? Because in a sense, what you're saying is maybe the incursions were always going to happen because this is a false reality and the universe was always going to manifest chaos. Doesn't that kind of feel like what He Who Remains says? The reason he says you can't stop this is because if you kill him, then it all just goes back to the multiversal war. He wins again and resets everything again. It's like a loop, right? Well, the part of the loop is the inevitable falling apart. Part of the loop is when it inevitably all crashes and burns, when the chaos manifests and it has to get broken down, right? Yeah, that is kind of an interesting point. What if Doom was at the end of time during the first multiversal war? Possible. My money would be on Thanos, actually. My money would be on Thanos. What are your thoughts on Doom getting an Iron Man suit? Tricks Peter because he looks like Tony. Yeah, totally. Something like that could be really fun. Yeah, absolutely. Could be really fun. All right. Any other thoughts on this stuff here with Peggy Carter, Steve Rogers, or RDJ? What do you think? Any other thoughts here, guys? Let me know your thoughts. If there are multiple Kangs in the Sacred Timeline, then there may be a Kang from the 21st century, meaning the actor from Spider-Man can be Kang variant. Mr. Griffin, yes. Not bad. Josh, you should have called this Avengers chair stream. You'd have like 100K viewers for 3 minutes. True. You all should watch Peacemaker. Oh, man. Should I take some shots at Peacemaker or just let it go? Should we just let Peacemaker, or should I talk some shit? Do they do anything with Kang from the Quantum Realm? Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Quantum Mania just kind of mirrors and echoes a lot of the stuff we had already talked about. It does add in the Eternity element, which is kind of interesting. So maybe in that sense. Should I talk about Peacemaker, man? Let me just tell you this. Penguin. Nobody watched Penguin. Okay, I'll just tell it to you this way. Okay? Nobody watched Penguin. And yet Penguin was watched by what? 2 million households for its first episode? 2 million households? It ended up getting like 10, 11 million views. It started like tracking up. Penguin by the end of it actually charts and got some viewership. So Peacemaker, and we're going to know within the next couple of weeks, we'll get the actual numbers here. But Peacemaker right now, Samba is reporting it had a 22 increase of viewership on the first episode of season 1. But do you know what 22% increase of 700K, not 700 million, 700K households is? Less than a million still. So unless, I mean, and Samba's not great, right? So you can't necessarily take Samba's numbers as any real kind of evidence here. But, dude, I'm just telling you right now, I don't think people are watching Peacemaker, dude. Like, I think Peacemaker is going to end up having marginally better viewership than the first season, which had the viewership of the MCU show Miss Marvel. Literally, Miss Marvel is getting those numbers, like 700K households and all that. Like, that's Miss Marvel numbers. Right? So, yeah, but that is what Peacemaker is very niche. Like, it's just a very niche, silly-ass James Gunn show. You know what I mean? I think it was like 700K. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, and look, on the one hand, here's what, like, to be completely fair, maybe that's fine. Like, maybe it's fine that Gunn does his little niche show after Superman. And then we do Supergirl, and then we do Clayface. But, like, I gotta tell you, from where I'm standing, this does not feel like the winning formula. This does not feel like the fucking, we're doing next MCU kind of thing or whatever. It's like, okay, Superman did okay, and then you released it on early to boost the Peacemaker show? Like, what are we doing here, dude? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you could not pay me to watch Peacemaker. I do not give a fuck about that character or any of those goofy-ass characters. What a silly way to, like, take your cinematic universe, in my opinion. I just think it's so weird. But we'll see. Maybe it'll chart. Maybe it'll end up getting on the Nielsen charts, because it does feel like things are a little bit light right now. You know, I think Alien Earth's doing pretty well. Alien Earth seems to almost be doing Penguin numbers, actually, ironically. So we'll see. At the end of the day, Gunn could get the last laugh. You know, he said he had a lot of teasers and secret stuff he was hiding in the last 3 episodes. I'm just telling you, like, I don't see any evidence that people give a fuck. And I think it's kind of silly to, like, waste this capital in this moment. Like, imagine if Lanterns had rolled out right after Superman. That feels like a much better idea. You know what I mean? But whatever. Yeah. Yeah. But it's just funny watching the Peacemaker fans be like, 22% of our 700K. Oh my God. It's like, guys, please. 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 I think they should have tried to go with the Snyderverse, honestly. Dude, I still think they should go with the Snyder. And look, everybody's going to be all mad when I say this. I'm actually dead ass. If they fucking cancel all this shit right now and turn around and do the Snyderverse, I think they would... I think the very first movie of the newly announced restored Snyderverse would make more money than Superman. And I'd put 500 on it, too. Although maybe not. It seems like I'm cursing these things when I do. I'm not even kidding. They would lose money. Brother, I don't think so. I'm not even kidding. The international would be crazy. It would be... People fucking love Zack Snyder stuff internationally. You know, and everybody rips Rebel Moon. You know, more people watch Rebel Moon than the new Superman movie, right? You know that? I hope you know that. Like, just do the math. Literally more people watched Rebel Moon than the new Superman movie. So, yeah. Rebel Moon was actually sick. Sad it got canceled. I really don't like those movies, dude. I was severely let down by Rebel Moon. But it had enough hype to get 50 fucking million views a pop. It's kind of wild. Was Rebel Moon released in theaters? No, not at all. I don't think so. Peacemaker outperforming K-pop Demon Hunters? Oh, jeez. I haven't even talked about K-pop Demon Hunters today. Remember how we talked about on Monday how it was going to be Netflix's biggest movie within the next couple of weeks? It's literally the biggest now. It already did it. Let me show you something. This is pretty wild, bro. Y'all like charts? Hey, y'all like charts? I got a chart for y'all ass. Hey, you like charts? Check this chart out. Also kind of crazy that Red Notice and Carry On were that big. These are the biggest movies ever on Netflix. Look at K-pop Demon Hunters, dude. What the fuck? Sony looking at this like, goddamn. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Denzel's like, I don't even go to the movies. Oh, shit. This industry's cooked. It's fucking cooked, man. Josh, in Warhammer, is there a robot army? Kind of, yeah. So there's the Admech, which are like druids that worship the spirit of machines. Super cool. There's the Tau, which build a bunch of machines. Oh man, you got me yapping about Warhammer. But in the Imperium, the Mechanicum, or the Mechanicus and the Imperium do not actually advance their technology because they consider it like blasphemous because we had it perfect in the golden age of technology. And so we're just trying to replicate what we had before. The Tau actually increased their tech, and within like a couple of thousand years, maybe like 10, 11,000 years, the Tau have now expanded to have tech that rivals the Imperium. So they're pretty crazy. They have really good robots. There's the Knights, which are like big old mechs that people drive and shit like that. Those are super cool. So there you go. I don't know if you remember, I used to be Wandering Dogs back near the start of the channel. Job keeps me from being here most days. Updated my channel name to email. Hope you're doing well, bro. I do remember you, brother. I do remember you. I remember Wandering Dog, bro. I do. Hope you're doing well, brother. Josh, should the mega pop stars work with theaters to live stream concerts in theaters for people who can't afford $600 to see Beyonce? It feels like a no-brainer. Yeah, it feels like that would be a good usage of the real estate and the distribution that they have, yeah. Yeah. Peacemaker viewership increased 22% from the season 1 finale, not the first episode. That's actually interesting, and I will correct the record on that. I still don't think it got much higher than that 700K, though. So I don't think it's actually that much more. But yeah, that's fair. All of you guys who are hating on the Snyderverse are all correct. He had very different take on DC, but the fact is DC hasn't done much in the box office since Zach. Yeah, I mean, look, you just can't argue with, like, just come wake me up when Gunn makes a movie that makes more money in DC. Like, that's it. You know, and I think he could. You know, he's got to build, though. Best wrestler turned actor, Josh. Go. Gina Carano. Guess she was a fighter, but still. That's right. Gina! Damn, Gina! Crisis on Infinite Earths on HBO is fucking sick. Am I the last one here to watch it? Crisis on Infinite Earths is awesome. Is that the one with the owl man at the end where he's like, you stared into the abyss and you blinked? Oh, that shit's cold. That shit's cold. Josh, you know, and we all know if Man of Steel came out this year, it wouldn't have touched 500 million. We don't know that. Like, I'm sure that's a nice brand of cope. You know, that's some well thought out copium, and I respect it. But, no, not for me. Where is cast announcement? It's coming soon, man. Coming right up. Dude, I just watched the scene. Somebody clipped this. Somebody had the clip on Twitter of when Zod is explaining how they survived and what he's going to do to Earth to Clark. And guys, I know Man of Steel has like some questionable shit, but that scene is better than anything in James Gunn's Superman. Like, I'm sorry. Just visually, the performance, it's just so good, dude. The skulls coming up, the fucking burning sun in the background. I'm sorry, dude. That shit goes hard. Like, I know, like, Gunn was like, I'm human, I'm Labubu, or whatever the fuck. And that's fine, too, but, like, there's just something about the Man of fucking Steel having all these fucking skulls, like a sea of skulls, surround him as he's like, no, Zod, no. Fuck. It's so good. It's so good. The Krypton stuff is some of the best comic book movie stuff out there. It's so good, dude. Like, it's just so good. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's so fucking good. Martha, wrong movie, but yes, that is certainly a blemish on the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. Den of Labubu. Yeah. Oh, what do you think is going to be revealed at D23? It's a good question. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? It was terrible. Stupid take on Superman. The story is absolute shit. I mean, those are words put in the right order, Ben. So I will give you credit for that. But, I mean, no 670 for Superman? We're being nice. We're not even adjusting for inflation. D23 will be more chairs. Oh, no! I'm not a Snyder bro. I know that he made many mistakes with his movies, but I honestly believe that if Warner Brothers just stayed in their lane and let him complete his vision, it would have cooked. I agree. Superman is the better film. I disagree. I like Superman too. I would even go as far as to say I love Superman. Like James Gunn's Superman, I love that movie. But I like Man of Steel better. Are we raveling tonight? I'm hoping to. Yeah, I'm going to have to see how the compy handles it. Because I have the streams now set up for 4K, so I don't know if we can actually game on there. We're going to try Marvel Rivals, and if it doesn't work, we're going to play Dawn of War, a new, not a new, it's like actually a 20-year-old Warhammer RTS game. So, look, hopefully Marvel Rivals, maybe Warhammer. We'll see. Ascending Rumble says, Man of Steel was cheeks, Warhammer is mid, and I'm not watching anime. But I still love you, Josh. Nerdvengers for life. Much love. Oh, appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. I don't really get the Superman hype. It was all right. It is an all right movie that I really loved. Stream set up for 4K, yet we can't watch in 4K. I know. I don't understand it myself. Technically, this is downscaled from 4K. So it's a little bit sharper than just 1080p or whatever. But yeah. The clips work in 4K. It's funny. The clips channel is putting stuff out in 4K. And then I believe the main channel is as well. Although I'm not 100% on that. For some reason, the streams won't fully upscale to 4K. But yeah. You playing with chat for Rivals? I'd love to get in there and play with y'all, man. How many of you guys are going to carry me? I feel exactly the same way. I think the movies and realize it's not that good. And I watch it and I still find myself loving it. Yeah. Bro, who's watching YouTube in 4K? Okay, fine. Maybe not anybody. Let's go. Who's your main? Used to be Iron Man. I could play a pretty good Magneto. I like Thor a lot, actually. I really like Thor. Bro, I've been trying to carry you for a while. Nuh-uh. Yeah, I like those characters. Who else do I play as? I played a little bit as Ultron. I've heard people fucking hate Ultron now. Like your own team. Like if you pick Ultron, your own team's going to be like, boo. Sucks. You know who I always wanted to make work, but was just kind of cheeks? Was Black Widow, dude. Is Black Widow decent now? Because, like, dude, I'd do a little bit of sniping, man. Yeah, he requires 3 healers. Or just y'all stop dying. You know? How about that? What if it's just y'all stop dying? Peter Parker says, Zack Snyder and Injustice Superman has irreparably destroyed the character's rep. Irreparably destroyed his rep. Interesting. Using your logic, Bayformers would be a cinematic masterpiece. You know what's funny about that? Bay's going to come back. I'm not even kidding. Watch this. Save this moment, Peter. Peter! Bay's going to come back, and he's going to deliver some absolutely incredible Transformers slop, and it's going to make way more than all the bullshit. Like, everybody's like, Transformers 1, Transformers 1. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's really fun movie. Yeah, the Bay slop is about to come back in full force. I will be there day 1 for the Bay slop. So, I think Zaslav should just be like, do we want to make money? Or do I want to hear this spiky white hair motherfucker try to convince me of Peacemaker Season 3? I mean, I think that's really the question. Connor Mullis, thank you. You are a Nerdvenger now. Welcome back to the Nerdvengers, baby. F4 or Superman? F4, baby. Slop is making a comeback with the top movies this year. 100%, man. Kind of can't deny it. It's kind of obvious. Why do you hate Peacemaker so much? Oh, I don't like hate it. It's not for me. Like, I just so juvenile and stupid. It's like quintessential James Gunn. And I do not like James Gunn. I don't like the way he walks. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he moves his mouth. You know what I mean? And on top of that, I don't like the shit he makes. His sensibilities are all wrong for my taste. He's made a few movies that I enjoy. Superman is one of them. Guardians 1 is one of them. Guardians 3 is one of them. Other than that, like, I really do not fuck with this guy. Like, I really do not like his style. So Peacemaker is like quintessential style of an artist I do not enjoy. Like, that's all it is. Which film has the largest you had to be there moment in terms of audiences showing up, dressing up, news coverage, etc.? Like, in the history of time? Probably Star Wars, the first Star Wars. Because didn't it play in theaters for, like, damn near a whole year? Star Wars was like a big deal, and then there were people dressing up and shit. Yeah. Slither? Yeah, not my thing. I can feel your anger. No, Volume 2 is not good. Although, it's okay. I would say Volume 2 is better. I can appreciate Volume 2 more than I used to. I really did not like Volume 2 when it first came out. But I can appreciate it a little bit more now. The irony is that I actually loved Gunn, loved Peacemaker, but I hate that he is a chronic liar. I mean, yeah, that'll happen. Wow. Do you like Quantum Mania? No. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, yeah, no. This is a great point. Major Tactics says, we had an 18-time Academy Award winner director, handpicked Zach, who still has his back to this day. I mean, no, yeah, and Nolan has that one quote where he says, I haven't seen a science fiction or comic book movie in the last 20 years that didn't have Zack Snyder's influence. I mean, that's Nolan saying that. You know, James Cameron speaks very highly of Snyder. You know what I mean? Like, I think the people that really know. Yeah, and it's weird because like I don't really know what the Zach. It almost is like Zach has some of the sensibilities of like just a dude bro. And it legit feels like, and isn't this kind of fucking ironic, man? Are we about to have an epiphany here? It almost feels like all the people that don't like Zach's stuff, they tend to view it or generalize it as like dude bro content. And yet, isn't it kind of obvious that what Marvel and DC and maybe Star Wars themselves are lacking right now is dude bro content? Like, just imagine Book of Boba Fett done dude bro style. What about Zach's writing? So, look, I would tell you that Zach is a much better adapter, and he's a much... I think one of, like, where Zach is really, really talented is in using cinematic language to adapt great works that came before and have the ability to, like, enhance them. So, like, there's a lot of stuff in Watchmen in particular that, to me, is like... You know, when I saw that David Gibbons art and the way the paneling and the cartooning is done, it's masterful. And yet Zach is able to do stuff using cinematic language. Like one great example is when the pin is falling from the comedian's apartment, and the way that Zach uses the camera is like it's not on the page, and yet it enhances what you already know from the page using visual language. And he's almost like a painter. It's almost like he paints using the frame. And he's just like, he's incredible in that visual sense. I will say, when he gets away from stuff that he's adapting, his writing does feel weaker. But to me, like one of the movies that I really, really love in his filmography is actually Sucker Punch, which I know it sounds crazy. Have you guys ever seen Sucker Punch? I really like Sucker Punch, man. And I think there's a lot of depth there. I think he was adapting a novel, but it's one of the examples of like at the height, like it's kind of weird. It's like at the height of his popularity, he takes all these femme fatale like actors that he had been working for a while and does the Zack Snyder thing, but like with just a bunch of femme fatale badass chicks. I think it's awesome. You know, Oscar Isaac's in it. Yeah, but it's, you know, it gets shit on a lot. People didn't really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure it bombed at the box office, which maybe one of his first like underperformers. But yeah, I like that movie, and I actually think it has a lot of good, maybe not even necessarily writing, but like his sensibilities with the characters I appreciated. Yeah. And then, you know, when it comes to Rebel Moon and like, man, I'd love to like talk to Zach about Rebel Moon someday, because I think Zach made the mistake that a lot of writers make where inside your head, it all makes sense. And inside your head, there are all these things that add emphasis and like so in his head, a lot of these scenes are functioning in a way that they did not function for the audience. And unfortunately, this is something a lot of writers can fall into this trap. I fell into this trap a little bit with Unity and had to adjust it because some people read Unity and they were like, what the fuck is going on in this book, right? And it's like, oh, in my head, it makes perfect sense. But you have to realize that like the audience comes with what they have and they just use what you show them. So Rebel Moon is a big sign that like he's not as gifted as a writer as he is a filmmaker, obviously. Which is a shame because I think his imagination is really cool and I think the world and the lore building is really cool. But like, dude, you know the problem with Rebel Moon is like everything just feels flat. Everything feels like you should think it's really badass, but there's no reason to. It's almost like you could feel like, oh, there's probably like all this depth and like interesting shit that I should know about this character, but you didn't give me any of it. So it ends up feeling like a bad D&D campaign where you just meet these characters and the dungeon master is just like, oh, and this is a really respected guy. Does that make sense at all? So it's like, man, it's tough. Probably should have leaned on some more actual story crafters with the execution of Rebel Moon. Yes, I did know that. Yeah, I knew it was pitched to Kathy, yeah. Nuckin' Fut says 50 months. Holy shit. Shout out to the Nerd Vengers, one of the best nerdy communities out there. It's good to see Warhammer growing in the Discord. Hell yeah, dude. Every day we get another one with the Warhammer stuff, man. Every day we get another one. And I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait to play some more. Should we play Warhammer tonight? Let's go to the polls. Should we play Warhammer tonight for the Nerd Avenger stream? I'll leave that poll open for a little bit. So how do you think Rebel Moon would have done if it was adapted into a Star Wars film? I mean, it's hard to say. I think what he needed some people he trusted to be able to come in, because like, you know what it really reminds me of? It reminds me of he needed that George Lucas moment. So there was a time where George Lucas shows an early cut of Star Wars to a bunch of his friends. And some of them fucking hated it. In fact, most of them hated it. The only person that thought it was kind of cool was Steven Spielberg. Bro, the rumors are that Brian De Palma and fucking dude that made the crazy ass movie Godfather, homie, Coppola. The rumors are that De Palma and Coppola literally cornered George after this screening. And they were like, you're going to ruin your career. And like forced him to like redo, you know, different elements and forced him to be like, this shit does not make sense. And through that, you get Star Wars. Because George was the same way, guys. And like George is still kind of like this, where he's like, well, it makes sense to me. In my head, it all makes sense. And then like, but if you're just watching it, like you need to be pulled along. I think Snyder needed a meeting like that, where like De Palma and Coppola were like, brother, no, like, and then just explain some stuff. And then maybe it could have found a better form. I liked Peacemaker season 1 and enjoyed most of the first episode, but really didn't need that full frontal nudity. What if a child turned it on post Superman, bruh? Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's just not for me, man. It's just not for me, you know. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Hey, you don't say that, Justin. You don't say that. Oh my God, dude, look at how close this poll is. Guys, how can we how, you guys gotta, hey, Members of the community that don't like Warhammer, are you freaking out right now? Are you watching what's happening in real time? Every day we get a new one, man. Every day there's somebody in the chat that's like, you know what? Warhammer's starting to sound a little interesting. You know? Every day. Non-members voted. Redo in members mode. So the problem is, even in members mode, anybody can vote on the polls. I don't know why, but yeah. Trey J. Soswa says, sorry for triggering you about Doomsday earlier, and COVID saved Marvel didn't hurt it as you claimed. The fall-off would have been worse had it happened even earlier. Oh, bro, you don't have to apologize, man. Look, and I get triggered for sure. Some of it's a little performative. Like, there's always that moment where it's like, do I lean into this or not? You know, because I am fucking mad. Like, let's not pretend that I'm not a grumpy, angry, my way or the highway, stay off my lawn, I know best, you don't know shit kind of a person. I'm that guy, authentically, 100%. It's the real fucking me. But at the same time, in this content game, there's always a choice where it's like, do I lean into it here or not? And all you did was really just allow me a place to lean into it and be wild as fuck and make some people laugh, and you know, that is what it is. So I don't take it that seriously. I hope you guys don't take it that seriously. I know there's a portion of the internet that will take it too seriously, but we can't do anything about those people. You know what I mean? Like, those people just suck. We're just gonna have to. We gotta just live with it. You know, it is what it is. You triggered? Nah, never. Yeah, I'm about to be triggered if you don't get into Warhammer. When are you gonna paint your Eldar? Who the hell is voting no? I agree, Dev. Who could be voting no? I think the problem with the Man of Steel thing is people like to forget Iron Man 3 made $1 billion and Man of Steel couldn't, in the earliest time, make money on hero movies. Yeah, there's some truth in what you're saying there. I think what you're basically saying is like, just shit was different. And also, like, coming out of the Nolan stuff, yeah, it was a little bit more of a peak time. People definitely appreciated going to the movies more, 100%. But, you know, I think this discussion misses a wider point, which is like, let's be real. We should all be freaking out that none of these movies made $700 million this year. You know, I lost the bet to Brandon Davis, but I feel like I lost that bet twice. Because in my wildest dreams, I never would have imagined it would have happened like this. I thought if Superman was going to do it, Superman would get to Superman would take off to like 1.3 and Fantastic Four was stuck at 900 or something. That's what I thought. If you would have told me, hey, how about another 500 that none of them get to 700 million, I would have lost another 500. I can't fucking believe it. So we're having this discussion about Superman versus Man of Steel, but what about just Superman or superhero movies in this year of our Lord 2025? What about that discussion? Like, did you all not, before the first Marvel movie came out this year, didn't we all think both these shits were going to get 800 million? Like, do you know what I mean? So if you can be shocked in the present that none of these things got past 700 million, then how fucking dare you turn around and say, yeah, but Man of Steel, obviously back then, you know, things are so crazy, and obviously now it's not good. Brother, you just found out the obvious of this year 2 weeks ago. It's not a good point. You know what I'm saying? Darth Snape 66 with a $20 holiday. God damn, bro. That is very generous. Thank you. Says, I love this community. There's really nothing else like it. Yeah, that's fair. No, I think you're right. I don't know how we got here exactly, but we are doing something kind of unique, so I appreciate it. Thank you all. Cheers. And we're going to keep it going. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here for now, guys. I really appreciate it. Again, good stream, good hanging, good discussions. The clips will drop later today. We'll be live tonight for the members at 7:30 playing Warhammer. I mean, we'll try Marvel Rivals. 55 months. Crazy AF. You took my money. I know, right? Zach, thank you, brother, for the gifted membership. Appreciate you guys. So we'll play some Rivals tonight, man. We'll play some Rivals tonight. I should be able to stream tomorrow. I might not stream Friday. I'll let you guys know. I'm not 100%, but we'll stream tomorrow. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Hopefully some news drops, and then you never know. This weekend could get crazy with all the D23 stuff. Probably just means we'll have a really crazy stream on Monday because I'm going to be out of town this weekend. So on Monday it's going to get wild. I think. Okay. All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Much love. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Hey, what? Justin got on his alt to vote on this shit? We know it's not valid now. Looks like it's Warhammer tonight, boys. Hell yeah. Good thing too, man. Hell yeah. We'll see you guys, we'll see you guys tonight. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, man, appreciate you guys as always. Go on and enjoy the rest of your day. Got some cool videos we're cooking, and we'll be there live tonight. Maybe we'll play Rivals. Maybe we'll play Warhammer. Maybe we'll play Checkers. I don't know. You'll have to find out. All right, I'm out of here. Peace out, everybody. Much love. Hey, do me a favor, though, would you? Actually, do me too. Open up your third eye and watch out your stinky, but